Hello everybody, I'm Ryan, and I literally just got done recording the audio for Xenogears Explained Part 2, and I was about to start working on editing when some news dropped because as of yesterday, February the 15th, the Wave 3 update for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has come out, and I'm playing through my New Game Plus file, so I'm still, I've yet to fully go through with it, even though I've seen some stuff online. The thing that this video is about is going to be spoilers for the Wave 4 expansion, the final story that involves Shulk, Rex, all that from the Nintendo Direct, because there's been some data mines. And just like how Masha, she had her art leaked in the Wave 2 update in the data mine, because they left her art in, so we were able to see what she looked like before. They revealed in the Nintendo Direct, but we didn't know anything else about her. So too has this update leaked something for the Wave 4 update, and I'm taking the time to express this beforehand, because if you do not want to be spoiled on any aspect of the Wave 4 update, do not continue to watch the rest of this video, because I'm going to be talking about it and giving some thoughts as I go through it. I'm not even saying what leaked, because I do know that can be a spoiler for some. So, I'm giving you the moment. Duck out if you don't want to be spoiled. We all good? Okay. So, the data that leaked in the data mine is, it seems to be the titles of the cutscenes that are going to be in the game. Like, when you go to the theater, each scene has its own, title, describing the scene generally. That is what has leaked. And the source of this leak, I didn't dive too deep. I found it on 4chan because I heard that leaks happen, so that's usually where I know I can go to investigate. So if someone, the original source, if they wish to be named, I can definitely update the description with this. But as of right now, I don't know the exact name of the person who data mined it. So be that as it may. Going through this, it seems like there is... So I just counted up, it looks like there are 48 cutscenes that are individually named. Now, these could either be long, they could be short, they could be a mix of both, but it seems pretty hefty. So going in, I'm going to start from the top. I'm showing the image now. And you can read through, but I'm going to go through and just kind of go one by one, give my thoughts on ones that seem of note. So, obviously, beginning at prologue, so that's going to be our introductory scene, kind of getting us used to the new characters. Second is the Ouroboros power. I assume this is going to be with the character that is the Vandom founder, who we see in the Direct has the stand / his singular Ouroboros. Because the theory is that their form of Ouroboros at the beginning is just half of the power before they learn the fusion. So I think it's in the center around him, and then maybe Doyle, House Doyle, their Ouroboros power. Now, the next cutscene is called Matthew's Past. This Matthew is not a character I recognize the name of immediately. It's possible it is one of the first names of one of the founders, because the founders are all designated by their last name, so we could have Matthew Vandom, Matthew Doyle, well, not Matthew Doyle, but one of the founders' first names could possibly be Matthew. And this is a scene going kind of giving some context about their history in the world as we see it so far. Since I'm placing the bets that Vandom's founder's name is Matthew, based on his point as the protagonist. Next up, we have Relics, which could be a fun play on the Monado and the Twin Aegis Blades. I don't know, that's just kind of what sticks out to me, because we're going to introduce ourselves to them at some point. That'd be cool. Or maybe it's the Lucky 7 medal that Vandom... I'm going to call him Matthew for the rest of the video, that Matthew has for his gauntlets. Colonies Collide is next up. It seems like this is going to be a Agnian / Kavesi conflict, can maybe the origins of such. And then 2 remain. This makes me think of the initial city's destruction with Consul N when he raised the original city. I think Colonies Collide might be maybe the colonies coming to, like, N has certain colonies under his jurisdiction and he like sends them out to the city to have them be attacked, or N does it himself solo. I don't know. But it seems like this is when the original city is going to be destroyed, so we're going to spend a little bit of time in the original city before 2 remain, Vandam and Doyle. The Consul Duo. Now, this could be N and M. This could be O and P, because they were a duo. This could be X and Y. My bet would say maybe N and M, since they're kind of being hoisted up as the central antagonists outside of Alvis, maybe. Then we have Struggle and then Training for the next 2 cutscenes. It seems like our main characters are going to fight against N and M. They're going to lose, and then they're going to have to kind of regroup and go through training. Whatever Happens is the next one, which kind of makes me think of an emotional moment between Matthew and the woman of House Doyle. Like, whatever happens, I've got your back kind of deal. Especially after they're kind of like licking their wounds and getting back into the fight. Then we have Aurora Shelf, which sounds to me like this is a noun, like this is a place or an object. I'm not sure what an Aurora Shelf is. It seems like it is a thing that is new that we are going to see here. So maybe they have to find the Aurora Shelf, maybe they have to obtain the Aurora Shelf, maybe they have to go to the Aurora Shelf. One of those things, I think, is where this is going. Then we have All Up to You, which makes me think this might relate to Shulk and Rex. It sounds like kind of like a character getting on a legacy. Maybe this is where they lose their body parts, like Shulk loses the arm and Rex loses the eye. Or another like mentor-like character passes away and kind of gives more motivation to the main party. And we have Prediction. If this is the case, maybe it's still happening in the sense of this might not be like Shulk's death, because Prediction gives to mind the idea of like his visions. I don't know. It would be weird to me, because my theory on Shulk losing his arm is he attempts to use the Monado, but the Monado, as Alvis, rejects him, and whatever happens with Dunban is happening similar to him on a much greater scale, that he straight up loses his arm. So it would be weird to me if he is able to then have a prediction, like have a vision, because that is using the Monado's power. So it's weird, so it might not be Shulk or Rex. Also, on that same trend, Rex might have the ability to also see visions due to like connecting with Numa's ability, like how Mithra had the precognition ability at the end of Torna, the Golden Country. So that also might be why he loses his eye. It might be a similar trying to use the Monado's power and it rejects him. Then we have New Soldiers, which might be them meeting the other 4 founders, because Shulk and Rex are mentors to House Cassini and Reitz, I think it is, or Ortiz, one of those 2. So like Shulk and Rex becoming maimed might be what leads them to join with the other 4 founders. Or at least maybe 2 at first, and then maybe 2 later. And then we have Clockless, which I assume relates to the flame clocks. So this is them breaking those limits. As we've seen before, they're not tied to those limits that they previously thought they were tied to. Traces of Battle. Seems like the group has come across a field or place which a battle was taking place, and they're kind of overseeing the remnants of what what appeared, or maybe there is a vision of sorts of the past, something like that. Then we have friends. Maybe this is where the group kind of starts bonding together. Like maybe they were a bit antagonistic to each other because of the politics in the city, so they were working together but not really close, kind of like how the Kavesi and Agnes halves in the main game are like working together because they have to, but they're not fully friends yet in the beginning, that kind of thing. Then we have taking flight, which is very noticeably hearkening in my mind to the Xenogears track Flight. Maybe they're using like these ships that the city have where they have like the flight, or maybe something with their Ouroboros allows them to do flight of some sort. I do think this is like something that they were building toward with the last few chapters, as it were. This is them like accomplishing that. Next up is Mobius W, which let me do a quick research on Mobius W because I don't remember them from the main game. Okay, so I just looked it up, and Console W was working with Console R, who was the console of Colony 11, which is Ashera's colony, which is very interesting because I believe Ashera is a descendant of Dunban based on, you know, various design aspects. So very interesting that we're getting this colony kind of like harkened back to. Console W very notably has the ability to control corpses and unconscious people. If Shulk and Rex are dead at this point, or if they're unconscious, I think we might fight them there with Console W puppeting them, which scares me. And then immediately after this we have Fusion, which is, I think, where we'll unlock the true power of Ouroboros, and what better fitting way to do it than against Shulk and Rex. I'm calling it's going to be Shulk and Rex. And then we have What Choice. Something tells me we're going to have to make a choice, and they might have to kill Shulk and Rex. This What Choice denotes a very important, very tough, very emotionally poignant choice. And I think that's more than just for the characters. I think it's going to be for us too. And then we have a Reunion. Maybe at some point earlier, some characters were kidnapped by Mobius. This is their reunion, or I don't have much more than that. And we have Bound by Fate. This is a very Xenoblade 1-esque message, especially with like how J and D were very quick to like say like, oh, what a passage of fate. This says to me it might be a very like Xenoblade 1-esque focused chapter cutscene. Maybe the characters get some sort of realization toward the true origin of N of sorts. It still feels a little early for that, but maybe, we'll see. Next we have Pioneers and then Colony 9. I think this might be like the start of a new Colony 9 based on the history of the old Colony 9 on Bionis. And then we have some more that I don't have as much that I can go off of. We have A Way to Live, Friendship, the Ragmos Desolation. One of these things is not like the other. A Way to Live and Friendship seems more like kind of bonding, the group getting to know each other more, maybe getting to know other people around them more. The Ragmos Desolation, again, one of those things. Ragmos is something we're going to learn about. It's going to be desolate. Something big is going to happen. This is going to be a very big event, I feel. This is going to be like a story-changing, like Fiora being impaled at the beginning of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 kind of event. Because immediately after, we have Anguish. So this is going to be them like dealing with the effects of the Ragmos Desolation. Next up we have Sister, who we don't know what this is about. None of the founders at the moment are said to have a sister. They're not said to not have a sister, but this will be interesting to see. Then we have Raid, which maybe as the crew is kind of pulling back from the Ragnos desolation, and they're kind of recovering. They're being ambushed, they're being attacked. Maybe even it's Colony 9 that's being raided. I don't know, we'll see. Next is Core Crystal. This is a big one. This is a very, very big one. And it obviously harkens to Xenoblade 2. And I think, based on the next cutscene title, I think this might do with Alvis. Because the next one is the console from the past. I need Alvis lore immediately. My god, console from the past. What a title. What a title. Then immediately after we have Great Grandfather, which makes me think this is where Matthew is going to learn about N and his relation to N. And I think this is where it's going to be revealed that N, M's daughter, or at least one of N and M's daughter, or not daughter, son, that we saw in the main game, who is unnamed, that is going to like come into play, because that N that disappeared is not the same N that raised the city. But I do think he stole the sword. I think that sword is the same that he has. Then we have Creation of the Worlds, which is another insane title. Like, if you show me that cutscene, like, this is going to be a fantastic cutscene. It's gonna be massive for the lore. And next we have The Decider. This makes me think that Matthew is going to have a very large decision, sort of similar to how Shulk had a decision to decide what the world would be like after. Obviously this isn't the end, but then comes The Night Before, which reminds me of kind of the interim part of Xenoblade 1, where Shulk is killed and the group is trying to like revive him with the replica Monados. Like this is where I believe that proportionately is taking place, like that kind of atmosphere where something big is coming and we need to prepare for it. Then there is The Black Mountains, which I believe is the end of the prequel story, the end of the Founder's story, which will have the fight, I assume, against Alvis. Now, we get to Future. I think this game, this Wave 4 is going to be both a prequel and an epilogue. Because now we have the one at the beginning, which I think is going to, I think the Founder, I think that end might be ambiguous, because I think it might be ambiguous until we learn more about the future to give context to the past. And part of the deal makes me think immediately something with Shulk and Alvis. I think there's something there with Shulk and Alvis. Something about like part of the deal of humanity getting to choose their own future and how that ties into Mobius coming into existence. I think this event is going to be described here. Whether Shulk is alive, whether it's Alvis reminiscing on it. What would be cool is we see this final battle between the Founders and then Alvis, and it like fades to white before the battle is finished, before you find out what happens, and then you go, next chapter is Future, and then you immediately go to Alvis in the future. That would be cool. Next up is Origins Memories. We're getting more heavy lore here. More heavy lore. We might even see Tora, because Tora was said to be one of the mechanics on Origin. We'll definitely see Poppy, which is nice. And then we have Gondor's Path, which seems to me like she might be a very central character because she is the descendant of House Bandom, and kind of the current inheritor of that name. Then we have the Ark. Now, this is kind of blowing my mind, because the Ark could be, could be literally fucking anything. But I want to point out, in Xenoblade Chronicles X, I'm going to be talking about this in my Xenoblade Chronicles X videos. There is mention of the ship of the Samarians that they took to the world of Xenoblade Chronicles X, like of Mira, and that ship they took in that game is literally exactly Abel's arc from Xenosaga. So, the arc here, it could be just another, like, it could be just a biblical reference for the sake of a biblical reference, but it could also be a Xenosaga connection, which could also be a Xenoblade X connection, which this game already has a lot of. So, that's crazy. I have no clue what's going on here. Then we have Klaus's World. Boy. I can't. So, heavy Xenoblade 1 and 2 lore coming through here. Heavy. And then we have Nael's Dream. Nael, I assuming, is maybe the true antagonist behind it all. Maybe he's like a Gelgar from Future Connected. Let me see if I can quickly find any Xenoblade character with any sort of relation to this name. 1 second. Okay, so I could not find anything under the name of Nael, which is interesting. So he is a new character. They are a new character, I'm assuming male. It's crazy because they're very important, obviously, because they're sandwiched between the arc, Klaus's World, Nael's Dream, and then we get Alpha, and then we get Release the Power epilogue. So much, like, this is going to be crazy. This DLC is going to be crazy, and I'm glad nothing else leaked, because I see this and I'm just more excited. I need to know what happens now. Yeah, so I assume I assume Alvis is the kind of final boss in the past, and I assume Nael is the final boss in the future. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, and I'm excited, because I'm glad it is taking a lot of stuff that's very exciting that I want to have happen, and just adding so much new to it. Release the Power. I think... Yeah, I don't know, maybe just the idea of a... Release the Power comes to mind. I think we're going to see the Conduit. I think we're going to see the Zohar, and seeing that, like, actively appearing, and not just, like, the little mention it has in Xenoblade 2. I need this now. I need this now, you guys. I need this now. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to be able to squeeze out of these titles. I believe this is real. There's enough here that makes sense, and there's enough new that I think would be very difficult to conceivably make up. I mean, there's always a chance, but I trust it. So yeah, give me your thoughts down below. Spoil tag, if you're going to be talking about any spoilers in the comments, please, please, please tag your spoilers, because there's going to be someone who looks at this and who maybe looks in the comments to see what's being talked about. Please spoil tag the comments. But yeah, this is crazy. Let me know what you think. I'm going to get back to working on the Xenogears Explained Part 2. Bye.